What's going on, everybody? It is I, Jacob Moore, the self-proclaimed sports analyst, and we have a humongous panel today. First and foremost, let's introduce Mr. Dan Gray, who's going to talk about his big announcement at some point throughout the show today.
Oh, exciting, yes.
We have Mr. Lane Dashing Dashco. And, of course,
hair.
Mr. Moore for your money.
Woo!
And, guys, obviously, today is a beautiful day in sports. It is the conference finals in the Canadian
First Saturday.
As I like to say, this point in the CFL season is always bittersweet. As, you know what, it's so exciting, but the season is coming to an end, which is, it's in a way, it's sad, right? Because it's been an amazing football
season. Well, the Argo
fans
were pretty happy.
Into the comment section, let's frickin' go! And just as a reminder, before we get into all the topics, please keep the chat respectful. We welcome strong opinions, but no hate speech, no personal attacks, or no disrespect towards teams, players, or each other. Let's keep the conversation positive and make this a great space for everyone. Analyst Desk standards.
And you brought me on?
Hey, come on, you're the epitome of professionalism, Mr. Gray.
100%. Legend.
Sorry.
Well, we have the toilet fussing?
No, my TV just made a sound. Sorry about that, guys.
No worries, you're good. I just figured
this does not affect Jacob's trying. It's not working very well.
Well, don't worry. If my fire buzzer goes off, you guys will know it makes a huge sound and it'll just interrupt everything.
Well, I think Jacob has sirens too, right? We go.
Well, that would just be sirens. It would be not intentional. It'd just be sirens over somebody saying something silly.
But okay, so Dan, Mr. Moore, I'm curious, are you getting nervous that you might be having to wear that Nathan Rourke shirt?
Yes.
Nah, dude, I'm confident in my Susie. Let's go. Bo Levi Mitchell's a Hall of Famer, world-class guy, first ballot Hall of Famer quarterback. He wants to win a Grey Cup outside of Calgary. He's going to get it done. I hate to say it, but it's 1999.
Hey, you know what, though, guys? I got to say this, though. I don't know if you've listened to any of Trevor Harris's pre-game comments yesterday. I love them. I'm not here to talk about Nathan Rourke. This is our time. The Saskatchewan Roughriders, they're the team that's ready to go. And back to the comment section, absolutely key. I need to be that champion in the pool. I can't be a self-proclaimed sports analyst without being a champion. So let's hope I keep that title. And thank you for the cheering.
Maybe he's got some inside trader information. Who knows?
I don't know. Is this that bulletin board material though? If he comes back and like kicks your butt today.
Here's something that nobody's really, well, probably people in Regina have looked at because they got a dress freaking warm. But afternoon, it's going to feel like -10.
Oh,
ew.
Wind gusts up to 14 to 20 kilometers an hour. I don't know what you want to say about BC, but they play in that nice little dome all year. All their home games are at dome. I believe, were they at home last week too? I think so, right?
They were.
Yeah, so they played in their dome last week. Sorry, I'm a little bit slow. I spent 3 weeks building this thing. So they were in their dome last week, and now they're coming out to where it's -6, feeling like -10. Wind gusts coming out of the one side of the building. It's crosswinds. It looks like it's going to be out of the northwest, and that building, if I remember correctly, is east to west for their
I believe so, yeah.
So if their east-west is coming to northwest, it's not going to do anybody a whole lot of good. But that wind, Saskatchewan's played in it. They've got players that played in it. They've got returning people that have played in it. And BC has played in it, but not every week. Well, so I think that weather, there's no snow falling, which is probably a good thing.
Right.
But it's looking like that might be a way to go. Not to mention, what's it going to be like in 2027 when they hold the Grey Cup there, and it's another week down the road. We could be could be your first snow Grey Cup in a while.
No, actually, that Grey Cup, they're actually pushing it up a week. So the Grey Cup, when they're hosting it, would actually be like this weekend. So they're pushing that whole season up a week. For good, logical reasons, in my opinion.
I am looking out my window at 6 inches of snow.
What? In my opinion, the Riders are
Wow.
definitely, and I'm sorry, Lings. I know you became a Lions fan over this last little bit, but I think you just really like cats. But the Riders, I really
Come for a walk with me.
favorite going into this week.
Oh no!
This is Dan Gray out west right now.
Oh my! I don't want to see that. Oh,
Oh no!
no.
So yes, there's about 6 inches of snow out there, and there's about that much on the ground in Regina too. Last I heard, I hadn't checked with them in a bit, but yeah, that's some snow.
And as Key's pointing out too, it's the 13th man advantage that Saskatchewan really has. And we have to remember Nathan Rourke.
If they're not frozen.
Nathan Rourke, what he has been able to do, and by the way, Nathan Rourke, I do think shut up some critics last week, but not all the critics.
Not me.
And the reason being, he still has not had a good playoff game on the road.
Yeah.
When he played Winnipeg in the playoffs in his first stint in the CFL, he was god awful. I actually think Calgary should have won that game if it wasn't for two critical errors that we talked about in that post-game show. And look, my pool hasn't been exactly right, my picks. I tried to pull the Craig Button of the CFL, and I tried picking out the entire CFL playoff bracket.
Failed miserably.
Not miserably.
Yeah, less teams to do it with. Come on.
I said we'd have Montreal, and I said we'd have Calgary advance. I had Montreal right, Calgary wrong. But I did have Saskatchewan taking it all the way from the west. But they're going to have to do it without Keyshawn Johnson in their lineup, who is out. But James Butler is a game-time decision for the Lions. And look, Nathan Rourke's a great quarterback, but can he do it without a running back support?
Dope.
Can he do it with a running back that might be max 80%?
Now, mind you, they do have that Horvath guy who's very young, but actually he's on my list for guys I think the Argos should be looking into next season.
He can punch a hole, but the problem with that, and I did back and watch a little bit of the Sask game in the last 20 minutes, is that defensive line is probably your best in the CFL.
It is. I would totally agree with that, especially now with Winnipeg being out, because Willie Jefferson's a dog. But
the downside to that is if they are going to be targeted, their DBs are going to be targeted by Rourke trying to air it out. And that DB core is the weakness of the Sask defense.
And we've seen that quite a few times this year.
They get burned playing turning in when they should be turning out. And if Rourke can actually throw the frozen football accurately, more than about 15 yards, that's how BC wins this game.
But I'm going to say this, I think Saskatchewan counters and they just blitz the hell out of Rourke, so he doesn't have time to attack those DBs.
Let the run go through your blitz and just don't let him get more than 3 or 4 seconds with the ball. If you can have pressure on him all day and they want to run 10 yards, 15 yards here and there because they beat the blitz with the run, go ahead. You're not going to. I'd rather you give up 10 to 15 on the ground than 30 in the air.
100%, bro. 100%.
Look, I hate to say it. I think the biggest scare for Saskatchewan is the kicking game. You guys might be laughing at me, but
that's what I was going to say.
Brett Loeffler is playing, excuse me, in this game. They brought back 8 starters to the lineup, including Loeffler. My big question is, which Loeffler are we going to see? The Loeffler at the second half of the season actually looked like the last third of the season, I should say, actually looked okay.
He did, yep.
But what are we going to get in a cold, windy day? And I'm going to say this too, even about Sean White in BC. Yes, he's the most accurate kicker in football. He also does it with half of his games being indoors. And when you look at his missed kicks, all of his missed kicks this season have been in outdoor games. I know there's not many of them, but they are. Is absolutely right, Key. But look, I'm just really curious to see how both of these teams go. Right? I think Saskatchewan is more equipped for a cold weather game. But that doesn't mean Nathan Rourke can't go out there and shut up critics and show he's the best quarterback in the CFL.
But is he? I don't think he is.
Dan, let's say he puts up 300 yards today, which I'm not saying is impossible. He will be known as that. Now, I don't think Saskatchewan is nervous facing Nathan Rourke. I'm going to be honest. I think that narrative
probably laughing at him.
If he puts up more than 325, Saskatchewan's in trouble.
I would absolutely agree with that.
100%.
Well, you look at the 2 times he faced the Saskatchewan team. Now, mind you, I understand playoffs and regular season are different animals, but you look the first game, 27 for 41, 337, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. And then the second game there was not that long ago, 23 for 28 with 368, 3 touchdowns and interception. Like, boys, Nathan Work's a different beast this year. I know you
He
guys
is.
don't like him for his bulletin board material and his and what he says and how he talks about the CFL game and things he says. And I mean, that guy should never be around a microphone ever in his life. But at the end of the day, boys, this Nathan Work is back. You got to acknowledge that what the Nathan Work from the past, the boogeyman is back. He should be MOP this year. He should be the MVP. He was the best player outside of maybe Nick Arbuckle, unless the Argos made the playoffs. I would say Nathan Work was the best player in the CFL this year, hands down.
Love a Bo Levi. I mean,
yeah, I'm sorry, I gotta agree with Lane. When Rourke is on,
better.
He's the best player in the league.
On, there's nobody better than Rourke.
But
Rourke has to be on. And need we remember that week 7 when these two teams played each other, Rourke threw for 337. Harris threw for 395.
Exactly.
Well, but all I mean is I think in this cold weather that Dan brings up, I think this is where it becomes more of a pound the rock kind of game. And not that the Lions are bad at that, but I think Saskatchewan thrives in it. I think they want to run the ball down your throat.
Oh, for sure.
And then 100%. Let Trevor Harris hit a bunch of screen passes, and then when you finally cover the screen pass, and then the deep shot's wide open. BC wants to air it out, I'd say 80% of the time.
Yeah.
Now it's changed a little bit with
who are you doubling?
Sorry, Dan?
If you're not blitzing, who are you doubling?
The problem is you can't really double anyone on that receiving core because between Hatcher, Katoy, and McInnes, like those three, that EC's offense when it's on is the best in the league. It's not even a question. I don't think you can double anyone in that. Now, Saskatchewan's offense is very different where they don't necessarily have that superstar receiver, but all their receivers are good.
Tommy Neal's looking really good in Saskatchewan.
Well, yeah, but Dan, I wouldn't compare Tommy Neal to Justin McInnes.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
it's one of those things. It sounds weird. I'm actually looking for a Joe to have a big game.
Yeah.
I think he's really this type of receiver he is. I'm looking for him to be targeted a lot. And like you're getting a lot of guys back, right? Like you're getting Sean Bain Jr. back. You're getting Mitch Picton back. You're getting a couple good linemen back. Like you're getting big players. Rowan Milligan's back in the lineup. Like the Riders are in good shape. So is Marcus Sales. But I don't like the narrative that the Riders are necessarily afraid of Nathan Rourke, but you certainly have to be aware that Nathan Rourke can beat you through the air with his arm talent. He cannot be having a great game, and then next thing you know, BC goes down and scores a touchdown in under 2 minutes.
The other thing you got to consider too, though, is I agree with Mr. Gray's point about the wind and the kicking. But with Mr. York wanting to throw those big 30, 50-yard bombs down the field, the wind can affect that situation too.
It can.
You know? And I kind of feel like
pretty protected up to about 20 kilometers an hour. Like the main part of that stadium, it'll be the kicking game where the wind swirls in the upper part of that stadium more than on the ground 15, 20 feet off the ground. Those bullet passes for 30 to 50 yards won't generally get affected there. It's not like BMO where the one end is kind of really wide open. It doesn't have that.
That's what I was kind of picturing.
It's kind of a bit more Coliseum-like.
Oh, okay.
Than for what I can tell anyway. It doesn't it's never been really a complaint in Regina about how the wind's going to affect the passing game. There has been complaints in Regina about how the wind affects the kicking game.
Okay, good to know.
When you look at it that way, and wind affects kicking more than passing generally. Like you got to get if you're Buffalo tomorrow and you're playing in Buffalo in a snowstorm.
Yep.
Well, then you got to be looking at maybe a bit of an issue, but even Hamilton tomorrow, if the wind shifts at all for Hamilton tomorrow, you'll have some snow.
Yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen. I'm not a fan of snow.
But my big thing is, so it's just very surprising because Saskatchewan is the favorite by all the odds makers.
Yep.
And yet everyone is talking about how Saskatchewan is going to stop BC. I think it just does show how good BC is being in the last, like Lane, as you've talked about, the last, I don't know, 5-6 weeks. The BC Lions have arguably been the best team in football. Now, Saskatchewan almost beat this best team in football with a lot of backups on the field. But then Toronto almost beat Saskatchewan with all their backups on the field. And Toronto was terrible this year. This is coming from an Argo fan. The Argos sucked.
Let's be honest. Saskatchewan did the Leafs thing and played down to their competition in some cases this year.
I would say that, considering Saskatchewan, both games to Toronto, they barely won, which was surprising.
Yeah.
And, I mean, luckily for Saskatchewan, I think they're just happy. Honestly, I'm going to say this. I think Saskatchewan's very happy that they're playing BC and not Calgary. Because they did not match up against Calgary well at all for some reason. At least the games at BC, they feel they're right there. And I don't think this team's worried about playing
this weekend. They will be your Grey Cup champion.
Whoa.
I don't think Hamilton, as good as they've been, and me being a Ticats fan, I don't think as good as Hamilton has been, they have the firepower to keep up.
I don't think they do either.
Wow.
So, but do you guys, like, I see Hamilton beating Montreal today. I don't know if you guys
Hamilton beating Montreal. It's going to be a shootout, but I see Hamilton beating Montreal.
I am waiting for Davis
I'm not as confident
Alexander.
as you, Dan.
I am waiting for Davis Alexander to pull a Chad Kelly on the field and completely Amber Heard a game. He hasn't lost yet. Something has got to give, and I think this could be the day. We know Hamilton has some very, very good defensive backs, and we know Davis Alexander likes to try to hit a window that isn't always there. So
Hamilton needs to win the time of possession game today. If they do that, if they can have 32, 33 minutes time of possession, I don't care how much you give Montreal for in the air time with our DBs the way they are. If Montreal's going to beat us, it'll be on the ground. We do not have the strongest defensive line. We're probably third, if not fourth in the league in that regards. I hadn't gone and looked at the stats lately, but it hasn't been a great run defense. We can defend the pass with anybody. It's that run. It's almost reverse.
I don't know if I agree with that.
It's almost the reverse of the Rough Riders, and which will make it a great game next week if that's what comes down to is Rough Riders and Hamilton, because you got a team that can run the ball where the other team doesn't have it, and then we're a team that can defend the pass, and so that'll be a great game next week if that's what it turns out to be. But right now, Hamilton has to think about how they're going to stop their run game. Your DBs can stop that passing game probably in their sleep, unless they're having a bad day. It's how's that defensive line going to stop? I want to say a mid-first rate runner.
Well, especially with Top the Third's been so good of late. But quickly to the comments, and sorry, Lan, I'll get to your point here. Let's hope Saskatchewan wins the coin toss. They can choose where they want to run from first. I actually won't be surprised if that game, because it's going to get colder and colder as the day goes on, I won't be surprised if teams are more worried about direction than possession to start that game. But Lane, go ahead with your point here.
Well, here the thing that scares me the most as a Hamilton Ticat fan, and I know I'm known on here as a negative Nancy, but at the end of the day, as you're on the podcast, but at the end of the day, we seem to forget that Hamilton was they won that. They did finish first, but they were pretty mid for most of the season. There was a lot of games where this team was winning when the last 30 seconds because of some miracle drive that happened to happen, or it was some lucky play that they pulled out of their butt with 12 seconds left and won the game. There's a lot of games where this team could have easily been losing, a lot of games, and there were times where this team just didn't show up. We saw the one game against Saskatchewan, we got like 3 points or something. You don't know what Hamilton.
All 4 teams that are remaining, Lane.
I know, but I'm just saying. But Hamilton had more of those games than I think any of these games, and I don't honestly know what Hamilton team's going to show up today. Is this going to be the Nathan and the Bo Levi, Kenny Lawler special? Is this going to be a tight game that you're going to have to go down the field with 1 second left and be like, oh, it's in my vein, man? Or is this going to be a game where the defense? I don't know with this team, man.
If you're playing a close game with Montreal, Hamilton's not winning.
Yeah, I think I do agree with that. I think Hamilton's got to try to put pressure on Alexander early to make him feel concerned. But I will say with Hamilton, Lane, I would have agreed with you up until Labor Day. but I actually think the best thing for the Ticats season was losing to the Argos on Labor Day. Not just because I got to make fun of everyone, but also because I think that was the game that made them realize, oh crap, we got to play a full game.
It was akin to the Jays losing to freaking Texas and being swept out, and then going
and that really kind of turned the tide on their
season. New York, and that was your turning point. Like your TSN turning point for the Hamilton Ticats season was getting their ass kicked by the Argos.
Yeah, I think it was, and that's why I'm still confident in the Ticats, as much as that makes me want to vomit.
I know, eh?
Back to the comment section. I think Alexander, unfortunately, is going to pull a crumb back.
Ooh.
This is only because I love Bo that this is guaranteed to happen. You heard it here first. Sorry, Lane. I wish I was wrong, but I won't be. That's a confident key. And look, I'm not. Maybe I have my blinders on when it comes to Davis Alexander. I haven't seen, even in that game in Winnipeg. Yeah, the first half was incredible. And then he almost blew it in the third half. It could have snowballed third quarter, sorry. It could have snowballed very quickly off that bad interception. I was disappointed that that Winnipeg couldn't find, at this point Calgary too, but I was disappointed Winnipeg didn't find a way to close that one out. But interesting news coming out of Montreal. Ties is back into the lineup. So who's your running back? Is it Scott the third, who just put up over 100 yards last week? Or is it Ties, who was kind of your main running back going? Like Sean Thomas Arlington still injured, unfortunately, because he was supposed to be your guy this year in Montreal.
Right. Yeah.
If it's me, I'm sticking with Scott the third because he's a real bully back, and I think that could wear down a Ticats defensive line a little bit more, just because he is the type of running back that doesn't run around you, he runs through you. The same thing I've said about AJ Ouellette in Saskatchewan. I love running backs that want to run you over, not necessarily run around you. Where Greg Bell, for example, in Hamilton, who really picked it up in the second half of the year, I got to say, like he really started to show why they were comfortable letting Butler walk. Yeah. But he's more of a run around you type running back, which doesn't always work as effective in the playoffs. Because in the playoffs, you're looking to pound the rock. Yeah, I'm just very curious to see
practice. Sorry,
I'm just very curious to see if Davis Alexander can go out there and handle the pressure of playing Hamilton's going to be loud. It's going to be a very loud. Well, it's not Tim Hortons Field anymore. Soon to be named field. We'll call it the Analyst Desk Field. There we go. And it's going to be
called Porter Field. Come on, let's just say it. Doesn't that sound good? Calling it the Hainer and the Hammer.
Actually,
that ain't a tagline. I don't know what it is.
Quickly about fields, Ottawa City Council did approve the Lansdowne Northside Stands revitalization. Yes, today.
Oh, it was
yesterday. Sorry. So that's a big news story for Ottawa Red Black fans. They're getting a lot done. They just got Ryan Dinwiddie as their new coach and GM. They are looking at reviving their whole team, and now they are going to be doing drastic renovations. Because I don't know if you guys Dan and I have been to a game in Ottawa, but one side of the stadium's really nice, and one side doesn't even have bathrooms. So it definitely needs these renovations. And I think they're really trying to send a message to this Ottawa fan base that, look, we know the last couple of years has not been good enough, but we're getting better. I just wanted to mention that since we were talking about fields. But look, overall, I'm really excited for both of these football games today. I think we're going to see some CFL playoffs very seldomly disappoint. Yeah. I thought we had great games in the semifinals. Now we have even better teams playing. I think we're going to see even better games in the finals. I think we're going to see these games. I do agree. I think the closer the game is for Montreal, the better of a chance they have to win. I think Hamilton's really going to want to set the tone early and try to get a lead and put some pressure on Alexander.
We also want that fan base behind them, right? Hamilton has an interesting fan base. When their team is winning and they're dominating, their fan base is allowed this in the league. But as soon as they're down, they're out. So they want to get their fans in there early.
What is each team's kryptonite this weekend?
Good question. I like it.
No, I mean, I'll start first with Montreal's. I think the biggest problem Montreal could have is Bo Levi Mitchell being able to read the exotic blitz ahead of time. Montreal's defense is very good unless it's predictable. And Bo Levi Mitchell is a quarterback that I think can predict when Montreal was actually going to blitz, when they're showing blitz, and when they're not. And if Mitchell can do that, that'll be success. So that's what I think would be Montreal's kind of kryptonite coming into this one.
I think Montreal's kryptonite will be not being able to pick up the Hamilton blitz. Like if Hamilton decides that they're going to do what Saskatchewan needs to do to BC and just send pressure 60 to 7% of the time, I'm not sure that Montreal O-line can handle that.
What are you thinking, Mr. Dashko?
I'm going to say maybe like pressure, like what you were saying earlier, Jacob, about like, just that it's like the games are getting bigger. You're still, Davis Alexander hasn't been on this stage yet. Sometimes it's like, okay, you got through the first round, but you said, he did kind of struggle there. And now the game's bigger and now it's going to the Grey Cup. And sometimes, as you saw it with the Blue Jays, the closer and closer you get, the more pressure, the more it tugs on the heart, the more stress you feel. Mm-hmm. Sometimes when you haven't been there, Bo Levi Mitchell has been there. He knows what it takes to win these games. And that Davis Alexander, as much as he's undefeated, he's never lost. The pressure's getting more and more. The stress is getting harder. The games are going to get harder. Can he rise to it?
What are your thoughts, Dan?
I'm going to go off the board with this one here, as I normally do. Uh-oh. We all know the quarterbacks are phenomenal in different eras of their career. Bo Levi Mitchell, first ballot Hall of Famer. David Alexander, super rookie, hasn't lost a game yet. So I think the quarterbacks are going to cancel each other out. I think the kryptonite for this is the running game. Because you look at Craig Bell, who I didn't like. I'll be honest, I didn't like Craig Bell at the beginning of the year. I thought letting Buckler walk was the dumbest thing ever. I really did. But then in that game, when Lane and Jacob and I went to the Say Alexander celebration, when it was Hamilton versus BC, I thought Craig Bell had a really good game, and that's when he kind of changed it for the year. Now you can say Craig Bell is, I would say, not the top, but up there as a top running back receiver. And I think with Montreal, since they lost their starter due to injury, and now you got your second guy back, but the thing is, the third guy, Scott, played incredible. And I think Scott played so well that he deserves to get the start. It's not like he played so well, he didn't play bad enough to take it away from him, right? So I think it comes down to, can Greg Bell continue being a top running back, and will Montreal make the right decision to start the right running back? I think that's what it comes down to this game.
That's an interesting point. This really could come down to running games. Now let's flip the script a little bit and go to the other side on Hamilton.
I was going to say, so what's Hamilton's script tonight?
And I think with Hamilton, their biggest issue is overconfidence, and that's what I'm going to say. I think if Hamilton gets out to any sort of lead, even 7 point, even a field goal lead, does this team go back to their cocky ways, ice in the veins? Kenny Lawler's the best player to ever touch a pigskin, and do they get overconfident in what this team can actually do? I think that's my big thing for Hamilton is, will they get overconfident? And we've seen it.
I think Labor Day really mellowed that a little bit, though. And
I agree,
but yes, if they go back to that, they're in trouble. I think worst case scenario, their kryptonite is their DBs can't keep up. They're a great DB core, but if Alexander can hit those 1 foot by 1 foot windows, which he tends to have struggles with sometimes, but he only needs to hit 2 or 3 of those on a longish pass, and Hamilton's in real trouble. So their DB core has to be the DB core we know they are.
I would agree with that on Dan Gray. I would 100% agree. I think they're going to have to find a way to stop Davis. Like, I think Davis Alexander is going to be a key player in this game more than anyone, because I think it's like what you said, Dan. It's like if he gets to go out there and make these great passes, and this defensive back core, these cornerbacks can't stop him. It's going to be hard for Bo Levi Mitchell to keep up, and I'm going to keep it 100%. If Montreal can go up there and pull off 30-yard passes and 15-yard passes and get first down after first down and pick this apart, it's not going to matter really what Bo Levi Mitchell does because it's going to become a shootout, and I think Montreal can hang in a shootout.
The flip side to that is pressure needs to get home.
Mm-hmm.
If Hamilton decides to go the pressure out, and I'm not sure they will, but if they decide to go the pressure out, that pressure out needs to get home.
Look, and I'm just going to say this too. I think Davis Alexander, one way or another, will be a major impact on this game. I think whether he is the reason this team wins or the reason this team loses, I think either way, Davis Alexander will be a humongous impact on this game. And I think either way, we're going to be talking Davis Alexander, whether we're saying how he is going on the best run in CFL history as a starting quarterback, which at the moment he is, or how he completely fell apart. That's kind of, even if he loses this game, if he plays really well, people are still going to be talking about how Davis Alexander is arguably maybe a Nathan Rourke level quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And if he completely falls apart, like I think he might, we could be talking the other way around. But I love this question you brought in, Mr. Gray. And Dan, I believe you did already answer it because you were saying
I don't think Mr. Moore for his money did the Hamilton side unless he's going to talk about the running game again, in which case, if that's the kryptonite on both sides, then my friend, we can go on to BC.
Yeah, I think as really to both sides. I really do. I think when it comes to a playoff style game, it's the winning style that wins it, right?
If Nathan York is your Superman in BC, what's his kryptonite?
Pressure.
Yeah, it's like I don't think Nathan York has it in him. I really don't. We talked about talking about.
I see the smoke coming out of Lane. He's fuming.
Why? I'm fine.
You see, Lane is all about Nathan Rourke. It's kind of like the Crosby and Ovechkin arguments back in the day. Now they're all friends, but back in the day, if you liked Crosby, you did not like Ovechkin.
You could not like.
And right now, that's what it feels like between Dan and Lane. I think we'd have to have them have a boxing match to see.
If you like Marner, you couldn't like Nylander.
Exactly.
Willie's my boy. But
I really do think with Nathan Rourke, it will. I would say if I'm going to go kryptonite on BC, I'm going to go away from their offense, and I want to more talk about their defense. When their defense is good, it can keep with anyone. However, it's been really good of late, but I thought they really struggled against Calgary, actually. I think if it wasn't for, I think Calgary more lost that game than BC won it, and BC's defense did not have answers for Vernon Adams Jr. in the second half.
No,
so mind you, Trevor Harris is a very different quarterback than Vernon Adams Jr. But I would say the kryptonite for the BC Lions is definitely that defense. I think, again, they almost have that Hamilton-esque with the way Matthew Betts seems to think he's the best player to ever rush a quarterback. Don't get me wrong. He's been playing at a really high level right now.
Yeah.
But he also really struggled to start the year. So, again, what kind of defensive line are we going to see? We have a DB in, I forget, his name's drawing a blank on me, but he's a rookie. And he has interceptions every game except one. Does he fall apart in the pressure?
Carter
right?
Jr., right?
It's just one of these things where BC's defense for me is the big question mark. I think their offense, look, I'm not the biggest Nathan Rourke fan either, but I'm not expecting this offense to have a bad game. I think Nathan Rourke is more experienced, and I think he'll have a good game today unless Saskatchewan can find a way to put a lot of pressure on him.
BC's kryptonite is going to be their offensive line. It has not seen a rush pressure like this since week 14 when Saskatchewan came, and they didn't even do a whole lot of rush then because, well, they didn't really have to. If you're going to be the O-line, you have to be expecting, I would bet you're going to see over half of them will be blitzes because you're going to be trying to get to Rourke before he can get to you. So I think that kryptonite, if that stands up, if their offensive line can stand up and stop the outside rusher, and his name is skipping my brain again for the Rough Riders, but he's had a lot of effect on passing.
Malik Carney.
Thank you.
Carney, yeah.
He's had a lot of effect, a lot of sacks.
Carniac we like.
A lot of pressures. If they can stop him, okay, Rourke gets time. He can pick apart a subpar defensive back. If that offensive line cannot stand up, you are going to be in a lot of trouble if you're BC.
Wow.
I would agree with Dan there a lot on pretty much everything you just said there. I think the only thing will be is can they stop Malik Carney?
I'll just say something here. The elephant in the room. I'm surprised none of you picked it. the weather. I think the weather is the number one key factor for BC because they're so used to playing in that California inside lifestyle. And they got to come up to the North Pole, they got to face the cold. They got to face the wind. And this game reminds me of the Grey Cup when the Argos won in 22. I think it was 22. Yeah, Argos won in 22. And Muamba at the end, Muamba had the game in his career. Unfortunately, ended his career, but the game in his career. And he took off his shirt. I'm like, we ain't cold, And I feel
weather update: greater than a centimeter of snow this afternoon in Regina, falling from the sky, with a 60% chance of that happening. So why don't we just add a little bit of snow? It won't be really blowing snow, but it will still be another factor. Like you gotta shake that snow off your shoulder pads every time you go to wander out onto the field. It might have a bit of a mental effect too.
Well, for sure, right? And, it could even affect Saskatchewan a little bit, too. Like, we haven't seen them play in this type of weather this year yet. And you look at the game when the Saskatchewan was playing Calgary earlier in the year, and they had to cancel the game due to air quality situations.
Yeah, okay. Calgary, so we do not, I promise you right now, after looking outside and seeing the snow falling in my location at this moment, air quality is not going to be an issue today.
No, I understand that, but what I was going to say is it's like, because of the situation, the game was postponed and the game was rescheduled and it wasn't under very routine. And you look at Calgary, I slept in hotel rooms and on floors, and they won the game. And Saskatchewan's like, oh, well, this didn't favor us. I'm like, whoa, you're home. Like, so I kind of wonder, has Saskatchewan really faced much adversity this year?
I think when you look at that, though, Dan, is that was a routine messed up for every single player that got ready for that game, that played in part of that game, that sat around for 3 hours while the CFL stuck their finger up their butt trying to figure out what they were going to do with the air quality. Like, we knew, I'm sitting here in Lloyd, we knew air quality that day was going to be bad. We have an app. It's called Fire Weather Tracker. We knew the air quality was going to be bad. Like 2 days ahead of time, they could have said, guess what? We got to postpone this because the wind is going to blow it from just north of Frog Lake right into us, and we're going to have problems. But
100%.
I get you don't want to disappoint the fans. But the fallout from that was the fans were pissed.
Oh, for sure.
Because they got hyped up, they got their Rough Rider fandom on, only to have to come back and do it again for the reschedule and ramp it all back up again. Yeah. That was an epic failure on CFL management's part. I will claim that forever and a day on CFL. I get player safety. But you could have made that decision a day or two ahead of time, knowing.
Or at least earlier in that day.
Hell, make it at 10 o'clock when you go, okay, the forecast actually that we knew 2 days ago is going to come true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But letting people sit around for 2 hours, 3 hours, that's just not gonna, like, not good optics and just not a good game plan.
And back to the comment section here and swinging back a little bit to Calgary. Unfortunately, you're right about Calgary. How did VA go from amazing superstar to a very tired king overnight? He needs to go to the mountains and do some soul searching. I mean, that was a tough one for VA. I actually thought he played well. There was just one critical error he made at the end of the second quarter that basically realistically cost him the game. It sucks, but that's all I mean, though, with the way Calgary ripped apart BC's defense. It does make me concerned if I was a Lions fan with going against the most accurate quarterback in professional football in Trevor Harris.
VA has lacked for a very long time mental fortitude. When stress hits, when the pressure hits, he seems to make less than optimal decisions. And if that's a skill thing, if that's a sports psychiatrist thing, I don't know what that is. You can kind of say the same thing a bit about Rourke. Right. If he sees pressure and he gets stressed and he's down and he wants to start playing Superman, that actually makes him worse.
It does.
He needs to stay in his game. Like the one thing you'll say about Harris is it doesn't matter if they're up or down. He's level-headed. He's gonna
He
make.
is.
He's
Oh,
going to make the
100%.
pass. And you could say a bit for the same thing for Bo Levi Mitchell and Hamilton is he stays fairly level-headed. We don't know what Alexander is going to do because
No, it's
he
wild
has no track record of pressures on. Do you make dumb decisions?
Right. Exactly.
And he did make some dumb decisions against Winnipeg last week.
He got
But-
away with some dumb decisions against Winnipeg last week.
He did. I thought Winnipeg did show some promise at the end of that game. But Lane, what are you thinking for the Lions? I know you became a big Lions fan this year, but what would you say is there one area that you're kind of like, oh boy, going into this one?
I think you nailed it with
Traitor.
the defense. I really do think that, I think you got it right bang on. You're going to have to stop Trevor Harris, veteran quarterback of the game. They got Saskatchewan can be just as explosive as anyone on the offense. Their defense was good, but you're going to have to step it up here. You're going to have to give Nathan Rourke the ability to kind of just go out there, make sure he gets the ball more, not make it feel like he has to make those Superman plays, even though he can. I do agree with Dan Gray said as well. It's like, can he make the plays? Can he be the Superman? Yeah, but if he feels like he's going to have to be to win this game, is he going to try to overdo it and end up throwing bad interceptions? Like it's give or go, right? But I think both of you guys kind of nailed it on the. I think it's a combination of both. Like the defense has to make the plays to give possession to BC the ball. And I think possession is going to be more key in this game than it will be in the Hamilton Montreal game, because I think if BC can kind of control that game with their running game and the passing and keep Saskatchewan up the field, then I think they'll be okay. But I think if Saskatchewan gets their fans behind them, is on the field more, getting those fans rowdy up there in Saskatchewan, and BC's Nathan Rourke feels like he's got to make 30-yard passes to save this game. I don't know if it's going to help him.
The only thing I will say, and I don't know if you guys would agree or not, if we go to the flip side of Saskatchewan, I think Saskatchewan's kryptonite actually fits BC's strength, which is the DBs in Saskatchewan is very hit and miss. So when we look at the kryptonite for Saskatchewan, it's definitely their DBs, and they got to find a way to make sure Rourke isn't hitting those, I would say, 30-plus explosive plays.
Yeah.
If BC's hitting 3 or 4 of those a half, it's going to be a long day if you're a Rider fan. And I'm not saying it will be a long day for a Rider fan, but I'm saying if that happens. I don't know if we all agree that's the kryptonite of Saskatchewan, or if any of you guys are thinking something different.
Yep, their kicking game is their kryptonite.
Okay. I would agree to that to a point.
Brett Lawther, who's 39 for 54.
Yeah,
that is not stellar.
And Sean White,
you're going up against Sean White, who's 39 for 41.
Whew.
If this comes down to 3 points at the end of the game, or an important kick after or point after attempt, or a long field goal to tie in order to, or even to this point, kick it out the back for your Rouge, which will be one of the last ones you can win on.
Right.
But if it comes down to those 3 points, because everything balances out, I give this to BC.
The only thing I will say
that is your kicking. That is Saskatchewan's biggest weakness. If they have to get to that, is their kicking game.
The only thing I will say with Lawther, he's either really good or he's really bad. So I think we'll know very early if he's having a good or bad day.
So that's what I was going to say about Lawther. I know overall he's not having a good season. I totally agree with that. But at the end of the day, he is a veteran kicker, right? And these big playoff games, especially in bad weather, this is where the veterans wake up, smell the coffee.
Yeah, but Sean White's also a veteran.
He's having his worst season since 2019.
And let's be honest, he wasn't good last year either.
He was 82% last year, so that's not too bad.
It's not great.
His best was 2019 or 18 when he was 90%. He's been an 81 to 85% kicker for the rest of his career. It's not a guarantee.
Right.
Where if you look at Mr. White, who is definitely a veteran kicker, he goes back as far as 2009 playing this game.
Yeah.
He very rare, like 95 this year, 94 last year. His worst season in his career, most of them is better than most of of Saskatchewan's kickers' best seasons.
You got to admit, you imagine if Saskatchewan had like Liram Hamalahu from Toronto, they potentially would be almost a perfect team this year because they've lost some games off their kicking game alone.
If you switch these kickers,
yeah,
and the penalties, I definitely agree, Ken. If Saskatchewan kicks their asses with the beats themselves, then yeah, that's going to be a problem.
Because we know both, especially Saskatchewan, that's something Corey Mace, who I think is a phenomenal coach, he hasn't quite coached out of this team yet about taking dumb penalties. Saskatchewan is a very passionate team, and we still see a lot of dumb penalties from this group.
Could the kryptonite in all of these things be the officiating?
I mean, unfortunately, that's been a huge conversation in all sports. You know, the World Series, we thought there was some very questionable calls.
I'm not trying to be like CFL officiating doesn't end up under the spotlight very often because the replay thing does a tendency to correct dumb calls. But offensive line holding happens on every single play for every single team.
And I hate to say it too, is the replay center going to get it right
Are
today?
we going to nitpick Saskatchewan's offensive line for the more excess holding than they sometimes do for other teams, or are we not? Are we going to let them play, or are we going to nitpick one team to death with that holding call?
I hope they just let them play, but I mean, I also, not to sound whatever, and I'm not saying it's an easy job, it's not, but there's times the replay center still I'm just shaking my head.
Yeah, I know.
Right? So this really could come down to, you know, how some of these 50-50 calls go. I really hope we don't see a whole bunch of pass interference calls on like soft ones. Like I understand if the guy's like basically like throwing him to the ground, sure. But there was even some in last week's games. I was like, really?
Yeah,
like, really? There really wasn't much there. Let him play.
I hope it doesn't come down to having to determine whether the foot was on the plate while the other foot was going across.
Yeah, absolutely.
If it has to come down to that inch by inch replay to decide a final, I don't put a whole lot of faith in CFL officiating getting it right.
Well, I mean, I don't even just say that. I'm sorry, but I don't think they get it right in a lot of major sports. We saw Brett Hall score a Stanley Cup winning goal with his foot in the crease back when that was against the rules.
Soccer's pretty good with that line thing that soccer has, and even first downs with the NFL now are relatively.
We could make an argument in the NFL, though, how they can't officiate a tush push to save their life. It's offside every single damn time.
Doesn't matter which team does it.
I know you're an Eagles fan, Dan, but you know it's true.
I'm an Eagles fan, but every single team that's attempted that tush push does the offside every single time.
I know, but that's what I'm saying, though. It's literally offside every time. So, like, I mean, I don't know. It's weird how CFL, they seem to be able to get offsides on quarterback sneaks of no problem. I guess it's because you have to give that 1 yard off the ball. You have to give
the 1 yard. And that's the problem with the NFL, is there's no 1 yard gap. Like,
which there should be, in my opinion. It makes it so much easier to officiate.
Oh, yeah. But, okay, so watch the Eagles and give them another extra yard and see how that goes with the tush push.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually don't want to ban the tush push personally. I just think we just need to learn how to officiate it.
Well, I think having a replay snapshot of the beginning of the play and letting them go to that for the tush push is a good way to go back. And I know we're getting a little off topic here, but if you want to really make sure the tush push went off legally, you have the overhead camera. You always have the overhead camera, that freaking drone or whatever they're going to put over top. Put it over top if you know it's going to be a tush push and take a picture.
And then also, too, like, look, you're going to be able to tell in like 2 seconds.
Let replay booth send down that was a penalty, back them up 5 yards.
Mm-hmm. And you can tell that in seconds.
You can tell that before the play's over. You could tell that before the quarterback has gone over the center's ass.
No, and that's a great way to try to eliminate those issues. But I'm really looking, though, for today. I really hope these games are just cleanly officiated. I think these are 4 really good teams. I'm going to say this. I think these are 4 teams that are Grey Cup caliber teams. Yeah, I just don't want to see a game won or lost off questionable officiating.
Let's see a CFL tush push today.
Yeah, why not?
Rourke will be the person for the tush push today.
It will be interesting to see, actually, if BC uses Rourke in short yardage or if they use Masoli, because you don't want Rourke getting hit too much, but Rourke on short yardage seems to be unstoppable. The guy's a tank.
I think they're going to use Masoli, no?
I would be using Rourke. This is a do or die game. And Rourke has a much higher efficiency rating at it than Masoli. And remember, Tommy Stevens still isn't playing for Saskatchewan, who is the king of short yardage. The guy gets 4 yards a carry.
That's
If
true.
you have to use Masoli in short yardage, he needs to go on to do like the pick him up on the shoulders of the running back and throw him over the top type thing.
Yeah. He's not really built for short yardage. Like, I'm not saying he's a bad backup
He's not
quarterback.
really built for being a quarterback, but that's not here nor there.
I actually don't mind Masoli. I just think he's past his prime.
Yeah, he's definitely up there in age now. Like his window of opportunity
His expiry date was 6 seasons ago.
Like I would actually argue I think Saskatchewan has the advantage in backup quarterbacks if it ends up coming down to that. I think Jake Mayer.
Don't even say that.
Look, people don't like it when I say it, but the 3 games Jake Mayer's played in, he's looked okay.
Your lips to God's ears. I don't think anybody in Saskatchewan wants to hear anything about going and
no, I'm not saying I hope that by any means. Like Trevor Harris, I think is the MOP. He won't win the MOP this year, obviously, but I think he's MOP caliber. And
Hall of Famer.
He's a future Hall of Famer. And it's one of those things. I just mean if
wait a second.
God forbid something happens on either side.
Is there anybody in the CFL that isn't a future Hall of Famer? I'm sorry, that's just just when you think about people that play in the league and you got NFL and you know what the NFL Hall of Famers look like. There are most of the people that play in the CFL are elite level or a bit better than elite level, high level college graduates, and they're all high level players in the CFL. There's not really a bad CFL player. There's some questionable CFL players, but to get to play in the CFL, you have to have a what is the CFL Hall of Fame?
The CFL Hall of Fame is in Hamilton.
Yes, I know that. I've been there.
He was asking, so I'm just answering.
Yeah, well, either way, I know it is there, and I get it's the elite level of CFL talent, and you're gonna see. You should see Rourke in it.
I think it's too early to tell.
Well, I mean, he's already passed Russ Jackson for most passing yards by a Canadian quarterback.
That was where I was going with it. You'll probably see Rourke in it. You'll probably see Levi Mitchell in it.
Oh, I would think
probably see. Now, if Thompson keeps up his way he's playing, he's 5-6 years down the road from being considered for it. But he's had I want to say MVP level season. If Montreal was to go on some sort of miracle run, you almost got to be thinking, might he be the MVP of a Grey Cup of some sort if they win?
Alexander very well could be. Like, I mean, it's one of those. Look, like I said, I think at the end of the day, and I do agree with Dan to a point that the CFL, I don't think people understand how much talent is in this league. Lane, you even said that when I asked you that question last week, since you said you watch way more CFL this year than you did in other years, that this team is actually very, very, these are very, very good teams. But Lane, quickly before I let you go, because I know you got to take off, quickly, who's winning both of these games? Give me your picks.
I'm going with my Cats. Going BC Lynn because Dan Moore is going to 100% wear that Nathan Rourke shirt on this podcast, and I'm taking the Hamilton Ticats because, of course, you know me, I love my sushi. But
so you're taking Hamilton and BC.
That's right.
Well, thank you very much, Lane, for joining us, and
have fun at the game tonight, boys.
We will see you very soon.
Let's go Ticats. Oski wee wee. Oski wawa. Holy mecca. Tigers eat them raw. Dan, eat some sushi today.
1999.
See you, Dan.
On that note, I do have to jet as well, but I'm going to be a little bit different. I'm going to call it the Saskatchewan Roughriders and Hamilton. And next week, you will see Saskatchewan beat Hamilton by less than 10 points.
Whoa, that's quite a prediction. What a bombshell.
And remember, too, if you're looking more for Mr. Dan Gray, he has launched the Border Pulse. So make sure you are checking that out. We will be doing a lot of collaborations with the Border Pulse, so make sure you stay right there and check out his site.
With that, my friends, you guys have a good day over at Hamilton. Do not get too cold. Be loud even if they are losing, please, because you're going to be one of the few. Yep. But enjoy your game, gentlemen, and we will catch you in the next few days.
Sounds good.
Thank you for joining us. Love having you on.
Cool. So, Dan, now it's just you and me.
Bombshell.
Who do you think is winning today? Because we're going to wrap it up soon, too, because we got to get ready to go down to the donut box.
Yeah.
Or the analyst desk field, as I might start calling it until they name it.
I think that Hamilton's going to take the win in the hammer. Alexander's going to get his first loss of his career. And I think the Rough Riders are beating Nathan York.
So funny enough, Dan, you and I are in completely agreement. I am taking the Hamilton Tiger Cats. I think Montreal, actually, I think this game, I could be wrong. I think this is where we see the worst game of Alexander. And I think Hamilton kind of runs away with it. I think the West will be closer, but I do think Saskatchewan will win the Western final, and we will see a Saskatchewan-Hamilton Grey Cup final, which I did predict from the start. So let's see if I at least get the finals right. And then we will go from there on. We will, of course, be doing more shows predicting that. Quickly before we go, there are quite a few NHL games on the docket. Currently, right now, the Penguins and the Devils are tied at 0. Sidney Crosby right now leads the league in goal scoring. Who had that on their bingo card? Senators play the Flyers. That game will be starting any minute. Stars versus Predators. Hurricanes, Sabres. Mammoth versus Canadians. I'm very curious about this one. Utah's been struggling a little bit, but they start off the gate really well. Same with Montreal. Montreal, they are 9-3-2, so they've been arguably one of the best teams in the league.
They look great this year.
Toronto, Boston, that's always a fun one. Let's see if the Leafs can extend the winning streak to 4. Let's see if Austin Matthews and Matthew Nyes and William Nylander can continue to kind of just lead this team. Yep, the Kraken versus the Blues. Wellington steal any famous memorabilia. I still think he was just joking around. Islanders play the Rangers. This is another one I'm interested about to see. Islanders are 6-6-2. Rangers are 7-6-2. This is going to be an interesting one because I think these teams actually match up with each other pretty well.
Yeah, I think.
And then, of course, we have the Capitals versus the Lightning, Jackets, Canucks, Sharks, Panthers, Avalanche, and Oilers. That should be a hell of a game. Maybe a Western Conference, some playoff round preview there. And the Ducks versus the Knights. Dan, before we do go, what's the game you're most excited about in all those NHL games there?
Wow, I think you have some very good points there. But the game I'm most excited about is the Super Saturday primetime Leafs versus Bruins. It's one of the most ultimate rivalries. And I think the rivalry has stepped up even bigger thanks to trade deadline last year. They got Brandon Carwell for Fraser Mitten. I think I like Brandon. I know you don't like him, Jacob. I like Carwell as a Maple Leaf.
I don't dislike him. I just don't think him and Riley.
Fraser Mitten as a Bruin, I think he's going to be the next franchise guy for Boston. I really like that Fraser Mitten kid. So
great player.
Was it the great trade at the time? Probably. Was it going to blow up in Toronto's face? Probably. And we could see that starting to happen tonight. So.
And I'm going off the board, and I'm really interested in this Utah Canadiens game. I'm really curious to see if Utah, if they're struggling for a couple games, I thought they did look better towards the end of the game against Toronto. And if they want to be a playoff team, they can't let these losing streaks build. So I think they really need a win against Montreal. So I'm very curious to see. I think Montreal, too, they're trying to show that they're a cup contender. So let's see which out of those two teams are the real deal. But on that bombshell, it is time to...
Don't forget to check out our social media, since we'll be at the game today at Hamilton Field. So we'll be posting from there, too.
Absolutely. And also, thank you very much, guys, for all the extra support on social media. Our TikTok numbers are absolutely blowing up of late, and we really do appreciate it.
100%.
And so is our Facebook and Instagram, but just especially our TikTok was one that wasn't firing on all cylinders, and it's been firing on all cylinders of late. So thank you very much, everyone, for all the support. But on that, it is time for us to get our butts off our gaming chairs and leave the desk. We do actually go outside. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching us at the Analyst Desk. If we don't get to a post-game show tonight, we will be doing a Sunday wrap-up / NFL preview on Sunday. May have another special guest with us on that one. So Dan doesn't even know who the special guest is. But that's how special they are. But thank you very much, everyone, for watching. And until next time, always join us at the Analyst Desk, where every day feels like game day.
Bye-bye!